Bro, you would literally stand up in front of the classroom, turn around, and bro, they would whoop your ass, bro.
Knowing all the other email agencies that exist, if I'm an e-commerce brand owner, would I work with you? I wouldn't. All right, I need to fix that.
Whenever I wear 2 shorts, I'll be, I'm cool, bro. It's like you can either trade time or you can trade capital.
I think when entrepreneurs say, why would I hire when I can do it myself? I think that's the most low IQ state.
You're 80% what? For me, anyone who tells me that they have 80% margins and you don't run a SaaS, you're a brokey in my mind. I did that, bro.
How long?
For like 2 days. All right, bringing you guys another episode for the Natural Born Leader podcast. I don't think I introduced it last time, but today I have a special guest, Splash Man. Yeah, this one is about to be fire. So yeah, would you like to introduce yourself?
For sure. What's up, guys? My name is Parikshit, but I go by Splash online. There's a whole, story on why I go by Splash online. Maybe we get into it, but yeah. I've been in the marketing online world since like 2017, give or take. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey. My whole personal brand, I kind of created more towards like email marketing, and it's still email marketing, but yeah, just leveraging that. I'm probably gonna make a switch from email soon, but it's worked very well. And I'm very honored to be here, man. I've been, following you for a while. I'm very grateful to be here, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like in this pod, I'll get to know you more and your story more.
For sure.
But let's get started. Where did that name come from, Splash?
Splash. So that's actually my PSN. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Splashman PB. For those of you guys that know, it's Chris Smooth. He used to have a saying where it was like, Mr. Splash Man, I make it splash, man. And that always stuck with me. Now, I love basketball. That's my favorite sport. So I was always, so when I had to make a PSN, I made myself Mr. Splashman PB, and those were all my socials. And I used to watch this guy on YouTube who's like my mentor now, Brandon Carter. And he used to do this thing every Sunday called Q&A Sunday. Mm-hmm. And every Sunday I used to ask a question. I grew up and I changed my socials, but I think I'd forgotten to change my YouTube, so it's still Mr. Splashman PB. So when his video guy was telling him Splashman asked, it just resonated. It was like an inside joke for a while where he's like Splashman, and every week it would be a reoccurring thing where like Splashman would ask a question, and I became like this character in this Q&A. And what's crazy is I got connected to my mentor, someone I looked up to through this nickname, and this one event I went to, I paid extra to go to dinner with the speakers, and that's actually where I learned what Klaviyo was. And then through that, knowing my mentor, he's the one that kind of got me my first email client, right? Mm-hmm. So when you kind of look back at it, it's like, damn, like the name, me having the nickname Splash Man led me to having the business I have now and having the life, because I do credit a lot of my success to my mentor, Brandon. For all the things that he helped me with early on. Like a lot of things he didn't have to do, but kind of took me under his wing, taught me a lot of things outside of just the skills, mindset. I got to meet so many people. So that's why that name, it's more than a name. And it's become like a brand, like more people know me as Splash than my real name. Yeah. And then also when you go out, people forget your name, Hi, my name is Josh, whatever. No disrespect to Joshes out there, you know what I'm saying? But like, but when you just say Splash, I don't even say my name, I just say Splash, and it's just intriguing. Like, you're like, what? And they always remember when I went to volleyball, they're like, Splash, right? I'm like, yes, sir, So it's kind of cool. That's why the name is so special, man.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't understand the importance of having something that you can be remembered from, right? A lot of people just are basic, plain. Even when they're starting a brand, when they're starting a business, it's like you need something where people can remember you, like something that's not easily forgettable, right?
Right.
And I feel like Splash is definitely one.
Yeah, Splash is one, and I always think of little things that you want to do with your brand that will make things stick, right? So for example, we all know about Gary Vee, how he wants to buy the jets. Mm-hmm. That's part of his personal brand. Yeah. And in the same way, I noticed and I started doing things. I remember I had a phase where I would just post espresso martini all the time, or my thing was play Lil Baby. Wherever I would go, it would be an EDM festival and I would yell, play Lil Baby, and then just make the story where I was showing you people are sending that to me or people are tagging me, and you realize these things become part of your brand. So,
Yeah.
you know, Splash, all these things, I think of that when I think of branding, because it does make people like remember you and kind of resonate with you. I guess to the brand, something I've been thinking about a lot lately is like the difference between like an audience and a community, you know? Because I have met people that had like 3 million YouTube subscribers, but you know, like, and we always hear these stories as well with like these TikTokers with millions of followers that can't even sell out like 5 shirts, or I don't know, not 5 shirts, like 50 shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think like doing things like this, Splash, the espresso martini, the little baby, where they kind of resonate with you, where they feel like they know you, you know. And same way with some of the people I look at, like comedians like Andrew Schultz. Like I feel like if I met him on the street, I know like he's my friend because I've consumed so much, because he shares so much of his life.
Yeah.
So I think about that as well, like on, I guess, creating the brand part. Like I want a community, not an audience, right? People that are like gonna resonate with me, not just consume my content. You know what I'm saying? Not just like the
100%.
how-tos.
Yeah, it's super important. One thing that I want to, discuss with you about is, we're both immigrants.
Yes, sir.
And we're all both in Canada. I'm in Montreal. You live in Toronto.
Yes, sir.
And I want to just talk about your story, because I feel like
For sure.
the most important thing for me is showing others that, like, you could come from, all you need is just one shot at something.
Oh, 100%.
One opportunity. And I want to talk, if you can just, just share, like, hey, where you're from, when did you move to Canada? Sure. Just your background and
For sure, man. So I was born in Nepal, and I lived in Nepal for almost like 9 years. So I grew up in a village in Nepal, like straight up, I was a village boy. Like we had a cow, we had goats, we had all this like farmland, like, like to give you context, like, I remember on the way to Canada, we had a layover in Hong Kong, 11 hours, and 11 hours is boring, but us being from Nepal, like this was my first time seeing escalators. So for 11 hours, what do we do? Just go up and down escalators for fun. And I remember when I first came to Canada, my dad, I remember when we went to our apartment, he brought hot water from the tap. Like just turn the tap and got hot water on demand. And I was like, what?
Wow.
And I remember first time going to a grocery store, I'm like, wait, I can touch this food before I buy it? Like, just like a whole like shift of life, and then also cold. Like we landed in December, so it was very cold. So it was like kind of getting, I was getting adjusted to just like this developed world. A lot of things I just wasn't used to back from like coming from Nepal, coming from a village. And I lived a pretty modest, like normal life. I went to school. When I was 16, I got a job. But I always had a lot of ambition, man. And what you said in the other podcast, which they should have checked out, like that, knowing that like, you have these opportunities, you got to take advantage of it, right? To a point where I remember in grade 8, our teachers told us to plan out like how you want your life to be. And then I remember like you had to like also write the expenses. And I remember mine was way above everybody, and it was only 3,500 or something like that. Yeah. And my teachers, I remember them telling me, they're like, oh, like, you have to be rich to do that or something like that. I'm like, what? Like, but I'm pretty sure it's possible, Yeah. But I worked a job at Home Depot for a year and a half. I was a lead generator, which was the best job I could have probably gotten. Yeah. So I was like I grew up very introverted. Like even doing this is kind of like, if you show this to my 15-year-old self, it's kind of crazy, because I used to be so nervous where even if I want to call the school to get some information on like the first week, like I would have to pump myself up, like literally just to like get on the phone with someone, like just to even talk, right? Mm-hmm. So this lead generation job, what I had to do, it's funny, the introverted kid goes from just, being shy in the computer, I was always, all about school, to now I literally am at Home Depot where I have to like talk to people all day and try to generate leads. Yeah. And that really helped me kind of break out of my shell. That also helped me with like the fear of rejection, because I was getting rejected every day, like every second, right? Like I was trying to sell duct cleaning and carpet cleaning. And for those of you guys that don't know, like these people always be getting these scam calls for duct cleaning, so they already hate me. But just going through that, it was so important. And also just having that income is what allowed me to kind of reinvest back into myself. And I actually got into this whole marketing world, through Brandon, but he was an affiliate for Ty's SMMA course.
Really?
Yeah, he was an affiliate because him and Ty are like boys. So so he was an affiliate for Ty's SMMA course. And then so I remember saving up and buying that course, and that's how I got into the whole marketing world. And that was cool, you know, and just like, that's when I started watching like Gary V's of the world, the Grant Cardone, started listening to podcasts. I remember getting called a loser when I used to post on my story, like, yo, what podcast should I listen to, guys? Like, all my friends are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
what are you doing, you know? And then from there, it led to drop shipping.
Yeah.
I did drop shipping for a while, and drop shipping really just helped me gain all these different skills. And one of them was email marketing. And I guess I'll go in the story of how I got into email marketing as well right now.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had the skill of email marketing through drop shipping, through my mentor helping me as well. And there was this kid, man, he was making like $15,000 a day selling these like fake AirPods. And I had like less than $1,000 to my name. This is my senior year of high school as well, you know. I have all these ambitions of like wanting to do all this, and I know that it's possible because I see all these people online making money. And I'm like, you know, I was so broke, but I always had hope. And I was like, all right, so when this kid was making $15,000 a day, I wanted a piece of the pie. So I was like, how do I get that, you know? First, we were talking about Facebook ads, but I'm like, I'm not too confident. And he wants to pay me on performance. And like, I want money now. Like, I want money now. Anyway, but I remember I had this skill of email marketing as well. And like I was telling you, like I was so broke, I would have done it for a couple $100s because that would have been like a huge percentage gain on my bank account, right?
Yep.
On my net worth, couple $100s. But since he was making so much money, I was like, yo, I'm gonna charge him $2,000. And after a couple of back and forth, he agreed, and like that money really changed my life. Like that's a screenshot that I have in like one of my vision boards that I always think of, because like that money did change my life. And you know, it wasn't like I scammed the kid or anything, because that month I made him an extra 11,000. Wow. And to me, that's what I needed, like a proof of concept, like, oh, because I can go around telling everybody I'll do your emails, but if I don't give them something, then it's like, you know, I am a scammer.
Yeah.
So me making him money, that like just gave me confidence that, wow, like I can do this to so many other people and so many, you know, like so many other business owners. And from there, like I've just been doing emails ever since, you know. I was a freelancer for a while, but now I have a team. And then now it's even to a point where I have business partners where, you know, I just am focusing on very key tasks, and they handle a lot of the things. But yeah, that's my story, man, I guess.
Yeah.
From Nepal to emails. I still go back to Nepal, and like it still shocks me because I realized, and I don't know if you can relate because I know you just went back home, but like I realized, I'm like, damn, like I forget this sometimes. Like I literally forget this. Like when I went back home, I was like, wow, like I used to walk these streets to school, you know, like these things used to be normal to me. Like, you know, like I remember like, you know, owing my friend 40 rupees, which is like less than 40 cents, and stressing about it when I was in Nepal. I'm like, damn, like, you know, even thinking about that just grounds me a lot. And then I actually like do a thing where like I remind myself so I stay grounded, because it's so easy to like, you know, get spoiled and feel spoiled. And I had my phase where I acted spoiled as well, you know, and going back home always just humbles me, and just these humble beginnings always just like really, really humble me. Yeah,
I think one of the most, so for me, I spent like 13 years too in Rwanda, in Africa. And I feel like if I would have gone to Canada younger, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. Because I feel like the type of like, the way you're raised in Africa is totally different from being raised in, you know, in developed countries like Canada or the States, because you're raised from a perspective of like, I mean, to be honest, like I was raised, and it's not like we missed anything. We had a nice house, everything was cool, right? But you're raised with like a certain level of like discipline, and you know, you're raised to respect others, you're raised to respect the resources, you're raised to respect a lot of things, right? So it kind of like gives you something that like, I think a lot of entrepreneurs who are born in the, let's say in Canada, right, in wealthy countries, they don't really have that type of, I don't know what it is, but they miss something.
It's a perspective, man. It changes who you are, because I've been around a lot of the different entrepreneurs, and you can just tell when they were like just coddled, you know, they were raised very like
100%.
Like their parents really just kind of, you know, like raised them very soft almost.
I know.
Like but I think for us, like, you know, from a young age, we just used to, at least when I first came to Canada, I was just always just being independent, you know, like a lot of things that like normal kids wouldn't do, like me and my sister would do just like even when I think back at it, like I used to babysit my sister when I was 9 years old. Yeah. Someone should be babysitting me technically, right? But like things like this, where like you kind of are forced to grow up a little.
100%.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. You know, we grew up very young. Like we grew up very, very young. Like all these things that I think people have to go through to learn. Like it was through our upbringing we kind of got that. I kind of want to hear your story as well, man. Like I remember hearing briefly one time about like you like praying like to come to Canada because like if this thing works out. So I would love to kind of hear yours as well, man.
So yeah, man. I was born in Rwanda. I was born in a different town and not in the capital city of Rwanda, which is Kigali. And I had 4 brothers. And my dad moved to Canada when I was like 1 year old, right? And he was there, so we lived with my grandmother and my other uncles, right? And till my uncles raised me, my grandmother raised me. She was the best. She was a G. And it was just went to school, had a cool life, was chilling. And my dad started the process of trying to get us a visa because it was there and he wanted to bring us. It was a long process. A lot of people don't know how hard it is.
It is hard, yeah.
It is hard. Insanely hard, right? Yeah. Like it took probably a decade, right?
Right.
And in Rwanda, I guess there wasn't really. I mean, it's like when you're in Africa, it's like you're just chilling, bro. Like I know a lot of people think that you're in Africa, so like life must be.
You have an oppressing life.
Yeah,
I think that as well. I'm like people must think that like when I say I'm from a village, like we had a sad life. I'm like no. Like,
no, bro. I think some of the happiest people.
Yeah.
Are in like countries like Africa, in countries in where there's not crazy development because their day to day there's no rush to produce, bro. None. They're not paid hourly. There's no urgency. So like I just went to Rwanda and bro, like people just spend their days, they'll work long hours and then just go drink every day, just have fun. They'll be lit every day but when you get there, it's like you don't see anyone who's sad. Even the kids in the streets who may live in crazy places, but it's like, bro, they're happy as hell.
Yeah, they're happy. Right? It's actually funny. Iman said that. I remember I was listening to him because he went back to Nepal and he built some schools there. I remember he said this thing that really hit me where he's like, when he was seeing these kids play, he saw the joy in their face and he's like, I have all the things I've ever wanted. And like, I'm not as like, happy as them.
Yeah.
And that really hit me. And I went through an experience recently where I felt the same way where, because, you get into this business world, first of all, you're living life looking at everybody's highlights, knowing your deepest insecurities, knowing your deepest failures, right? Always comparing yourself to people. So there was a period of time where I was like mentally miserable, But I remember I had this perspective where I'm like, if the current me went to the village me and told this kid, hey man, one day you're gonna have this, you're gonna go here, you're gonna eat this, you're gonna meet, all this, but you're gonna be miserable. That kid's probably looking at me like, are you a dumbass or something? And that really made me change my perspective as well into like, it's not like more external is not going to help you. Like a nicer watch isn't going to like fix it. A nicer car, more food. And that's why I honestly had like a big part of my like entrepreneur growth has been really just the internal, like, fixing the internal part of things, man.
Yeah.
Because I think I also just went through a phase where I kind of got caught up in the external part of things, just, the people I was around, the different influence, which I'm grateful I went through, just to learn the lessons. But that I think of that a lot. Yeah.
No, it's hard not to get caught up in that, man, especially if you're in the online space. Because everybody's like, to prove that you've got something, you got to essentially just show it off, right?
Yeah.
And it's a race that never ends. And I feel like a lot of people actually fail because of it. Like they'll get caught up in the sauce of lifestyle. And lifestyle, I don't care how great your business is doing, like that shit will run out.
100%.
Because if you stop paying attention to the thing that got you to where you're at, then of course it's gonna also
happened to me for sure. When I prioritize lifestyle over work, like that's when like you start declining as a person in your business, etc. And it sucks. But like even when I look back at some of the things like these shoes, like the fuck did I spend $1,000 on these shoes? Or like in my Rolex, I'm like, it was such an impulse, like influenced by like I shouldn't really have done that. Like my business wasn't like I should have been reinvesting into my business. I should have been, doing all this. Like now I just love wearing Uniqlo, just like simple shit. I bought it from a farmer's market for like 400 grand. What is that in dollars? Like $20 give or take. I like this. I know this is like my new vibe now, I'm not saying I don't like nice stuff, but like this is, I'm more on this vibe, and I'm grateful I went through that phase because I don't ever want to go through that again.
100%, yeah. But coming back to my story, so raised in Rwanda till I was 13, and then I moved to Canada. You know, when I got here, I wasn't necessarily too much into like the entrepreneurship space. I was just generally just, hey, let me get. But before coming, right? Because you know we're hoping to come, right? Because it was like sometimes like, hey, you're about to come, and then you're about to get a visa and blah blah. So you know, like every time before going to bed, I was just like, oh man, like if I can step my foot in Canada, bro, life is lit. Not even about the money, not even about the cars, but you know. So when you're, because you know, from my perspective, right, all I knew about from you know going abroad was you know the movies, right? It's like you know going to high school, you know the crazy, you know meeting the girls and all that good stuff. And I was like, bro, this is the perfect life.
Right.
Even if you just get there, it's like your life just becomes perfect,
For
right?
sure.
And yeah, I moved there. It was pretty easy for me to just get used to you know the school system, made some friends. It was cool, right? I'm not necessarily a crazy social person. I don't actually like to have a lot of people around me. I can make friends. I'm not necessarily an introvert, but I'm not the type of person who likes to have a gang around me, right? Right. But I still enjoy having friends, and yeah, just went to school, finished high school. It was amazing. I think high school, if I would have known that life would be this hard after high school, I would have enjoyed a lot more high school than I did, bro.
100%, man.
I remember my friends, you know, they were, you know, I don't necessarily, you know, encourage people to do this, but, you know, they were just getting out, you know, smoking weed, you know, hanging out at the library. Right. But to me, I never did that. I was more of like, hey, just more of a solo guy, you know, just hang out, school, hey, good things, and then I would just go home, just chill at home, right? But now that I think about it, I'm like, bro, it would have been chill to go out there. You know, you smoke a little joint, you know what I mean? And just, you know, socialize. Because I feel like in high school, you can make it through it. You don't need to be smart. You don't need to be a genius to go through high school and still enjoy life. Because I think that high school is where there's almost zero risk of like you messing up your life. You can still have fun and still get that homework done, right? Especially now that you have ChatGPT.
Quick question on the school part. Did you notice like the difference in standards when you came from like, you know, like Rwanda? Yeah. Like, cause in Nepal, they were like strict and the school was, you know, like hard. Then I come to Canada and they're like, all right, guys, you have 30 minutes to write a paragraph. And we're like, what?
Yeah, of course, school was crazy different, right? I remember when I was in high school, in primary school in Rwanda, it's like, bro, if you had not done your homework, bro, I had to wear 2 shorts because knew I would like get not necessarily beat down, but like how do you call fouetté in English? Whipped.
Yeah,
bro, I would get whipped, bro, in front of the classroom, bro. So, bro, you would literally stand up in front of the classroom, turn around, and bro, they would whoop your ass, bro. Like. Whenever I wear 2 shorts, I would be like, I'm cool, bro. I ain't gonna feel it that bad. So we would just go there and be like, ouch.
Dude, our teachers in Nepal used to ask their favorite students, which are the girls, to get the skinny branches, because the skinny ones, it stings, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like you don't do your homework, whatever, you get hit in the hand. Like I remember telling some of my friends like my school story, and they're like just shocked. They're like what the fuck? Like that's torture, crazy, you know? Bro. But like that was just like normal to us, like getting beat, like just. I guess, you know what I'm saying, part of like I was growing up older, it's like shit like that, man. It's crazy to think about.
No, like it's totally different, right? And people are, you know, you're used to a certain, and I feel like it's what makes, you know, certain countries, like, you know, that's why I think that, and that's why I'm like, if I wasn't born and raised in Rwanda, I don't think I would be the person that I am today, because I was raised to a certain standard where I was not necessarily always tortured to perform. Right. But I knew that, like, you know, life is not easy.
There's repercussions, you know what I'm
saying? There is, you know, if you don't work hard, there is a certain, you know, life can really be a shitty thing if you don't play it right. So, and, you know, my dad always, you know, encouraged us to work hard and to really take life seriously, because bro, like he took life really serious, and I think that's where I get a lot of my ambition, and maybe he gets it from his dad. But bro, like he used to work like 7 jobs, bro.
Yeah, wow.
You know, he ended up doing really well for himself, but he had to show up, bro, for like 2 decades, bro. Like every day, like even till this day. Right. Bro, he'll work even when he doesn't need to work. He'll just grind. Even $100 if he gets $100, I'm gonna go work for that 100, right? And for me, the biggest blessing for me is like to show him, like, bro, like, you know, like my success for me, it's like one of the biggest, and this is something that I also wanted to ask you. It's like, for me, one of the best thing about succeeding is actually not about me having the money, but it's more of like, bro, like the people who came before me, all their hard work didn't actually.
Oh, 100%.
It wasn't just in vain, right?
It's the worst thing to see, right? When you like see kids that just are fucking around when their parents sacrifice everything to bring them to Canada, or, you know,
so bad.
Or US. Like, yeah, no, I have my talk with my friends about that. It's like it's literally such a big fuck you to your parents.
So
bad, the biggest disrespect, you know.
Yeah. And I was in Rwanda, and last month we just had our biggest month, and it was so funny because he came back, and he's been a guy who's helped a lot family, and he was showing his friends, and he was saying that like it was something in Swahili, right? But someone told him like, hey, like you help a lot of people, and hopefully one day like you'll get like you'll be blessed in return. And he was showing my Stripe account to his friends, and he was like, yeah, this is what the guy was talking about, right?
That's amazing.
And for me, I was just there, and it was for me, I'm just okay, whatever. I'm a bit jaded to the money, right? But to see him, talking with his friends and share that, with my family, like you can see him genuinely being happy for all the hard work.
It's the best thing for sure.
Oh,
I remember
bro,
first time I saw my dad that I had 100,000 cash in the bank. Like,
yeah.
That smile on his face was crazy for real. Like,
yeah.
Even my dad, the same way as you, like he sacrificed everything. Like he told me like no one supported him when he wanted to come to Canada. Like no one, not family, not friends. So he had to sell some of his land to even like take a risk to come here. Yeah. So like when I hear things like this, I'm like, damn, like I'll be a dumbass if I just don't go for all the opportunities that's presented to us.
Yeah.
And I see it because, so I had a program where I was just teaching people how to start their email agencies, and sometimes I'll give like kids in Nepal my programs for free, and they are doing better than kids here.
Yeah.
And then this is when I started having zero, like when I mean zero empathy towards like kids in Canada and shit, when they're giving me excuses like, my parents don't support me. Like, I don't give a shit, yo. There's kids that are literally like in Nepal that are like making sense, making it happen. Yeah. And I always tell them like, yo, if some kid even had your worst case scenario, like, yo, he would outwork you. You would be a multi-millionaire. You would just crush it. He would, crush you out the water.
Yeah, again, I think it's perspective. It's the worst thing you could have is not know that there can be worse in life.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Right? And a lot of people take everything for granted so much, and that's why I'm like, hey man, thank God for being blessed.
For sure, man.
To be born in a country where I can see the good life, but I can also like see like, bro, people who have nothing, right?
Literally reality for majority of the world. Like, you just have to take one plane ride and see like, whoa, like I am living in a little weird bubble.
Yeah. No, cool. So how was it when let's talk a bit more about your agency. Like,
for sure.
How did you scale? I know,
sure.
Before we're talking, right now you have 15 clients. How did you get that?
Even this is like, we're in a growing phase because I've had so many phases with my agency, like I've had like my 6 figures months, but I've also been miserable. Like I remember when I was making 10K a month thinking, if I only made 40,000 a month, I can support my family, I can travel, I can eat, I'll be such a happy guy.
Yeah.
And then those months that I had like all these crazy numbers, I was so miserable that I did not even enjoy a single second of it. But yeah, like the scaling part, it really just came from, first, my personal brand helped a lot, just getting a lot of clients, but then it was chaotic operationally, right? Then I had to realize, the importance of systems, right? And like the importance of systems, like I was like, damn, this is really everything, right?
Yeah.
Now I kind of break it down to like, you need the 3 S's, like the service, the system, and sales. These 3 you need in place to have like a agency that's like running well, where you are kind of fulfilled as well, because you don't want to just have, if you have the systems and the sales, but you have a horrible service, then you have a high churning business, then it's a chaos, right?
Yeah.
And if you have like, service and systems but no sales, your business is not growing. Service, sales, no systems, chaos.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I think. And like, I got to a point like just in my business when I was making money, but I was miserable and I was kind of tired of being miserable. So I almost restarted my whole agency with these partners that I was telling you about, where, I had them focus on the key parts of the business that I just was like tired of doing, which is like fulfillment and a lot of the sales. Yeah. And while I just kind of focused on, advising them, like getting the systems together, like learning from my past mistakes. And like, even like, honestly, like we almost restarted our email agency from the summer to now. And just even getting to 15 clients, like, where they're paying us a high retainer, and then and we're in a growing phase, and we're like this, like, we're like, I even tell like, my partners, I'm like there's so much more we can do. Like we're literally only 10% of where we're like, not even, you know what I'm saying? Like where we could be. but really just like learning from a lot of people, just going through this experience, going through the experience of just like having chaos, you know, having to making money, but like just
Feeling,
being
failing,
man, failing a lot, bro. Like,
yeah, I've seen a lot of people make this mistake where they'll think that like the goal is making money, right?
No, it's not. That's
But
the crazy part.
I've realized that it's not really about making money. It's like making money, but also feeling good about making the money.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
So for me, one of the things that I've optimized for with my business is like, you know, I don't necessarily just want to make money, but what I want to do is I want to sustain making money, right? And so let's say, you know, one of the,
huge,
right? It's like, you got to sustain it, bro. It's not about
100%.
making 6 figures this month. It's about, yes, I want to make it this month, but I also want to make it forever, right? And the biggest mistake that a lot of people do, and maybe you can also talk about your experience when you were feeling, you know, shitty about your business versus now, is like it's all about having people do things that you're not good at.
Dude, I'm so grateful for my team and like my partner, very, very important, bro. Like you need those people. Like you got to understand your strengths and weaknesses. And I think that's why like I like my agency now, right? Is because I am just working on my strengths, which I love, right? Like and that's like that's so important. That is the key, I would say.
It's everything.
It is important. And to your point, sustainability, right? Like those months I was doing the high numbers, like after a couple of months it died down because of the, you know, all the I remember Sam Ovens had a video on this, man. I watched it before I even got into business called "With Scale Comes Debt," and he said, we're not just talking about monetary debt. There's like all this other debt that comes, the work debt, service debt, systems debt. And like just working on that, like that's what like makes you like not sustainable, right? So like even just, I realized like your approach to business has to change. And even like you said, like forget the money, focus on the business, right? And I have a saying now where it's like the irony of like making money, like wanting to make money online is actually not focusing on the money, right? Like in the 100%. Beginning, it's just like, when I like really took it in, it's like money is just a byproduct of an amazing, like a good business. So you providing amazing value, right? If you are the best solution in the market, you will win. If you were to start your agency tomorrow and you were better than my agency, you will win. You know, our clients, it would have made sense for them to go ahead and work with you. Like I had to have like a hard conversation with myself. I remember I was in Mexico and I was like, knowing all the other email agencies that exist, if I'm an e-commerce brand owner, would I work with me? And I had to be truthful, and I said, I wouldn't. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the truth. And I was like, all right, I need to fix that. Because until that's a hell yes, I can't grow my business, you know? Like even sales will be harder, right? Now, like when your product is amazing, like you can sell like crazy because you know like you are the shit. Like you have the sauce, right? So that was like just all these experiences I went through, man, like, and then just understanding that sustainability matters. My mental health matters, man. Like, you know, like I don't want to like be a slave. Like I didn't escape the rat race, as we call it, you know, to create that in my own like house. You know what I'm saying? Like, screw that, man. I was not trying to do that. So like, you know, just like you were saying, that I'm very key on just long-term thinking, sustainability. You know, let's win together. Like the people that are working with me, like, I want to see them win as well. Like, you know, I had certain people like that I know that were making 6-figure months, and like their main guys fulfilling, they're making like minimum wage. Like they're better off working at McDonald's. Like what are you doing, right? But versus like, let's all eat. Like when we go up, like let's all grow, you know? And that's what's gonna get the best out of people. Like that's another thing I learned about like team and people is like you can't just have people that are there to do the things that, you know, they're assigned to do. Like, that's like, unless it's like a very mundane thing which a VA can do, like you need people that will take initiative, that are part of the mission, that want to grow this with you, that are like, you know, excited for what you have. That look to you as a leader and they're like, yo, I'm going to follow you because I know you're going to take me there. And you know, I'm very, very grateful to say that like I have that now, and I'm still in the growing phase, man. I'm just so excited to see where it goes now.
Yeah, one of the things I shared on my recent YouTube video was that I think it's forgot his name, but his just this famous speaker. I forgot what his name is, but he said something like, you know, if you give enough people, will give. If you want to, well, he's talking along the lines of like getting rich, whatever. But if he was like, give enough people what they want, then you'll have what you want, right? Or make enough people rich, and then you'll be rich yourself. But I think for me, as I scale my business, I've realized that like the people that this quote is mentioning is not actually just your clients or the people that you're serving. I realized that it's actually more importantly your team. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if your team is not getting rich from your business, at least not necessarily everyone, because you can't really make rich every
the customer
person.
service person making six figures a year.
You know, you need a little bit of money for the Porsche, right? But
the Porsche
but like, I realized that, like, yo, if I can make my team rich, their incentives are aligned to the growth of the company perfectly. I realized that, like, bro, I don't even have to do anything in this company, right? So, you know, for me recently, it's like, bro, I want to make sure that the superstars of my company are the most well-paid people on the face of this fucking planet.
100%.
Because if they're getting rich, then this becomes more than just a job for them. It becomes
100%.
a vehicle for them to be financially free. And I realized that, like, all these people, because we have this focus in this agency and internet marketing space where it's all about, oh, I'm 80% profit margins.
Dude. Oh,
I'm like,
fuck,
you're 80% what? For me, anyone who tells me that they have 80% margins and you don't run a SaaS, I essentially just, I mean, you're just a brokey. You're a brokey in my mind. Because I know that you're a slave to your business. 100%. Because if you have 80% of the paycheck or of the capital coming in, then that means that you're the biggest slave in the company.
For sure.
Because the biggest paid person is you. So that means that you're the one who's responsible for most of the success of the company, right? But then, because I realized that, like, you know, the biggest companies, if you look at Apple, Google, Facebook, bro, they'll pay 6 figures a year to the person who takes care of customer service, bro.
Right.
If you can learn anything from someone, learn from these bigger players, right? Making trillions who are trillion, you know, dollar value companies, right? And I was like, bro, like, if they're paying this and they're way wealthier than I am, I don't want to pay my superstar a few $1,000 a month. Like, yo, fuck that.
Yeah.
Right? And it's been crazy, bro.
No, like you said, they are superstars, right? So in the same way, like, they are in demand. Like, I think you can agree with this. Like, there's not that many, like, good, reliable people. Like, not that there's not many, but, like, there is
not many.
There's
actually.
a low supply of them out there, right? There's a low supply of them out there. So in the same way, they're in high demand. So if you're not providing that if you're not gonna do that for them, then they have the option. Just like a hot chick, man. Yo, you're a bum.
Options, yeah.
They got options, and they're gonna choose their options. So yours right. And to your point about the 80% margin, I fell into that, like, little thinking, you know, early on, and you realize, like, how dumb and selfish that is as well. Like, you're like
crazy selfish.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was stupid. I'm buying stupid designer instead of reinvesting back in my business while I'm still fucking, like, tripping out that I have to like, you know, I can't even. I have to take this call, like, you know, like, what am I? And I tell my homies that, like, some of my homies that are with me right now, they're gonna watch this podcast, and I've told you this, but we're at dinner and they're on Zoom, listening in, and I'm like, bro, like, what are you doing? And I'm really telling you, I'm like, stop doing, like, bro, you can't be having a sick lifestyle and, like, be living like this, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's not a way to live life, you know? You don't want to be at dinner on taking Zoom calls. You don't want to be somewhere you're like, yo, guys, I gotta leave. I got a call to do right now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, right now, I do have a call. Like, I have a call in 15 minutes, but I told my team, hold it down.
Yeah.
and I know they're gonna hold it down. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, this is the type of, like, life you want to live. And why did you get started in the first place, right? And, like, what kind of business do you want to run? And that was a huge thing for me as well, man. So and I hope whoever's watching, they really take this to heart, because you don't want to go through that miserable period of life when you think the other way, where it's like, all right, 90% margin. It's like, what? I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah,
because it's like, because it's like, the goal is to be able to have more free time to be able to live, right?
You're right.
So if you're, like, it generally does not make any sense. That means that, like, if you're, because your margins is a form of energy, right? It's a form of energy that can be used to do more things, right? So that means that if you're conserving that energy into a bank account or into buying stuff that have no value or that have no that you can't use, that can't produce, then that means that, like, someone is going to have to compensate for that energy that is being saved, which is also another thing around, you know, people who save money. But, like, if there is one dumb thing that you can do is save money.
100%.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't save money. I'm just saying that, like, if you're able to produce capital, you should not be saving capital at all, right? So if you're in a business is an investment vehicle. It's not really, yes, it's a business you can produce. Some businesses don't require investments, but like you should still see it as an investment, right? So if you're conserving that capital and you're not using it to hire more people, well, that means that like you yourself are gonna have to be the employee who's producing because it's like you can either trade time or you can trade capital. A lot of people get in business wanting to get money so they can get the material stuff, and then they lose track of the fact that like, yo, I actually need to be getting the capital and then actually using the capital to remove myself from ever having to work, right? And for me, one of the things that I've been trying to optimize for is like, how big can I build a business where like it's just a machine. It's not me. It's not about Serge. It's not about, hey, how much work did I do, right? It's like today, if I don't work, it's like it's not really going to change how much money my company makes, because it's not about me. Someone is getting paid to make sure the lead comes in. Someone is getting paid to make sure they close that lead. Someone is getting paid to make sure that lead is served. Someone is making, someone is getting paid or getting rich for making sure that lead is a served customer and that they're happy, they're getting results, right? So it's like, in order for you to achieve that, you have to give up a little bit of money.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, right? I think you can agree with this, and this is something I had to go through because I was just raised very frugal, right? When my parents are driving 30 minutes to save a couple dollars on gas, like going somewhere to save grocery store. So like, I remember when I was in business, I realized like, oh shit, like this thinking is like holding me back because I'm always looking for the cheaper option or like, like being a frugal guy. But one thing I've noticed is like the relationship that broke people and wealthy people have with time and money. It's almost inverse, where like broke people will like spend time to save money. Where wealthy people will spend money to save time, right? Yeah. Like, and I remember one day I hung out with like a very, very, like a multi-millionaire, one of my dad's friend. This was when I was 14 years old. I remember we're in Niagara Falls. And the boat when you can go on the Niagara Falls, under the falls. So we were trying to go there, and the person says, it's going to be a 30-minute wait. I remember him saying, no, let's just go back to Toronto. I remember that was stuck with me. And I remember how serious like he took his time in the schedule. Yeah. Right? And that's when I realized, and even just now, now that I've like been able to network with so many people, you see like, my mentor Brandon taught me this a lot, right? You know what I'm saying? Where he was like, he gave the analogy of like, let's say your hourly rate, we don't really get paid hourly, but if you, let's say, divide the amount of time you work and how much you get paid, you can get an hourly rate. If it's higher than like certain things that you can hire for, like it'll be dumb. Like, I think when entrepreneurs say, why would I hire when I can do it myself? I think that's the most low IQ statement. Like, it's so dumb. Why would I hire an editor? I can edit myself. Yeah. Like things like this. Why would I cleaner? I can clean myself. But then you realize like, wait, opportunity cost wise, like you're not actually saving money. You're losing money, right? So like when you start thinking, like when you start changing the way you think and how you look at it, then you realize like, oh, I should be spending money to buy back time, And that's what I've done with my partners, bringing on my partners is like, I've bought time. Yes, I won't make as much profit in my business as I used to, but I also used to be miserable and I also had almost no time for myself, Yeah. And it's like, that's not a way to live and I don't want to be doing that,
Yeah, 100%. When it comes to your agency, like what has been the best sales angle for you to sell because I guess you have case studies, right? You've been in the game for a minute,
so
right?
That was a huge USP as my personal brand. Yeah. But even now, our USP for sure is, I know they're going to steal it, whatever, take it. Community building because so many email marketers can just go blast your email and ruin it. So community building and also our designs, I think they stand out.
So you've been, where are you building a community? Is it on Discord?
So I'm saying we will, instead of, I guess this is an angle to sell our service, is like we're not saying like, what we tell them is like, listen, anyone can come to your store, blast your list with promotions, and they'll make you money, but then that is useless. That list is useless. They're never gonna, It's just like with a friend, right? Let's say a friend comes to you, first time, is like, hey Serge, can I get $100, right? Okay, whatever. Next time again, hey Serge, how you doing? Can I get $100? Yeah. Again, hey Serge, how you doing? Hope everything's been well. I see you been doing. Can I get $100? The fourth time, eventually, the $100 question is coming. Yeah. So in the same way with emails, if you're always promoting, it's like that. So our whole thing is like, build a community with the list that you have. These are people that are like in your group. Let's have a strategy where they want to be in this. where they, you know, where they are looking forward to reading your emails. So that's a huge angle that we use that I feel like differentiates us.
Yeah.
Another huge thing is for sure is like, you know, the designs as well, because we have good designers in-house, amazing designers in-house, where they can, you know, make any design and amazing designs. And just with the experience that we have, we know that if a store is, you know, not doing emails and they're, you know, they're a certain brand that has good products, good logistics, good customer service, like we know we can crush it with email marketing. So,
because you know, the reason why I ask is because I've had a lot of clients who are pushing email agencies, and I think that if you don't have a good sales angle, it's one of the hardest service to sell.
Because everybody's going to, I'll give you 30% with, like, bro, everybody's heard that. Stop this shit. Like, you know, like everybody. It is like Hormozy, and I took this in from Hormozy when I read 100 Million Offers. Is like, if your service is the same as the other guys, then the person can price shop. But if you're different, then it's like, wait, I can't find another you in the market, you know? And I remember that was like a huge focus. I was telling my business partners, like, we have to be that, where they're like, they can't really just find another person, you know? And we've had clients leave us because they want to do in-house, and then we looked at their emails and they're like, oof, big difference, you know? And so, like, yeah, you're right. Like, that USP is so important. And everybody, whether they know it or not, they have a unique sales point. They just have to kind of like look at their strengths, look at what's going on. Like, all right, you know, this is my angle I should go. That was like,
talking about your community thing. Have you thought of going the process of helping brands build like actual communities, let's say on Discord for brands?
Never, not really, not so much for e-commerce brands really. That's a good idea, I guess.
I think you should look in. I mean, whoever is watching this, I think it's the next trend for me. And let me just backtrack and just share with you like where this analysis came from. So I've been seeing a lot of brands, right? So I've been following a lot of people who run YouTube channels, and they go on to building 9-figure e-com brands, right? And I was like, it doesn't make any sense, because I know how much money actual brand owners spend on advertising to try to make $100 million a year, right? But you'll see people who have, you know, let's say like Christian Guzman or, you know, Gymshark. You know, Gymshark is $1 billion company, and Christian is making like 9 figures a year, right? And I was like, it doesn't make sense, because I don't necessarily see a lot of ads for Alpha Elite, right? And I was like, bro, and he went on a podcast by Max Tuning, and he said that like 78% of sales comes from influencers. Wow. That's $80 fucking million a year, right? Crazy. And my thought process was like, okay, because for us, me, you, like, bro, I mean, you're starting to grow a good brand, so you can make money whenever you want, but like, for everyday people, they gotta be solving problems. You cannot just be like, oh, buy my t-shirt because I'm cool. No, you need a lot of people to be following you in order to make money online if you have a brand, right? But for me, it's like, I'm always trying to figure out like, how can we reverse engineer and turn this into a service, right? Wow. And I was thinking that like, well, if you can master building communities for brands, you can make them the kind of returns that like they will love you for. Right. And a lot of people are always getting the impressions, right? If you find a brand that's spending hundreds of thousands, I mean, you know, we have Justin there who's spent $10 million on ads for his clients in combined ad spend, right? It's like that $10 million could have probably, how many impressions do you think in total you guys got for your clients?
It's a good question, but probably over 100 million at this point. But
perfect. Yeah. So like 100 million people saw these brands, right? But like, brand owners, I think you guys are stupid, because what they'll do is they'll keep spending money on ads. Right. But it's like, bro, you already gotten the users, the viewers. So what you need to do is you need to figure out a way not just to sell these people onto your clothing, your t-shirt, your shoes, but put them in your own platform. Right. Email is great, but I think email is not real. Email it doesn't have that type of conversation that you can have. It doesn't have it doesn't have the type of like, you know, let's say Iman is building this GCC thing. It doesn't have, you know, let's say, you know, like the natural born leader thing or the sharks type of thing, right? So you kind of need to bring them into a community where the community is making people want to buy themselves. Because one thing I've noticed is humans do what others are doing, right? But on an email list, I don't know that this other guy bought the new Porsche or that they bought the new Ferrari truck, right? Because when Drake puts, hey, I just bought a Ferrari truck, Ferrari just released a truck, we ordered these.
Yeah.
Every rapper is gonna want to order these so that they can
100%.
put a caption on their Instagram, right? So I've realized that like community building is such a, like I can't preach it enough. Especially if you're even an advertising agency,
Right.
if you learn how to build communities, it could be Discord for younger crowds, Facebook groups for older crowds, right? And then figure out a way to, I'll give an example. There's this girl who had a bottle brand, right? What she did was, because building community around bottle brands is a little weird, but what she did was she focused mostly on health. And what she did was she started like, hey, drink a gallon of water a day, like challenge. And every single person in that community started sharing pictures of like, hey, I drank my thing. And then it's like something that people
Right.
look forward to, right? And you know what happened is her lifetime value went from increased by like 46%.
Jeez, that's a huge.
And that's like 46% on an 8-figure brand.
Yeah. That's,
So it's insane, right? So for me, the reason why I said like you should think about community building, I was like,
think about it. No, it's gonna. You guys are seeing my mind being blown in real time right now.
Yeah.
This whole time, bro. This guy. If you guys are watching, this is like game.
it's game changer, bro.
This is game.
And yeah, so I think that all you do is spend a bunch of money, maybe do short form content, get a bunch of views, get people to do it, and then just have a call to action, leading them to a community,
Right.
and just give value, right? Give value,
Bruh.
get people to enjoy being in that community, and just say, hey, we're dropping a new product.
Right, dude. This is crazy because it's in brand with what because we don't even call ourselves an email marketing agency anymore. We're saying
Yeah.
attention marketing.
It's
like, bruh.
it's everything.
Appreciate you so
Let's go.
This guy, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I think it's
Legendary.
the future, man. Because I think the future is making money without having to spend money on ads.
Yeah, community. I mean, like if we even look at some of the recent trends, right? I remember Luca was talking a lot about this. Community marketing is the future. Like,
Yeah.
they were able to do that with Gel Blasters, have a whole community, right? If you look at how like Tate blew up, that was.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a TikTok account.
Yeah.
Like what? Like.
Yeah.
What you're saying is
get
just
it. Yeah.
straight game, man.
It's
Just straight
everything.
game.
Yeah.
It is everything,
100%.
Even just outside of just like business stuff, just having a community. I was able to go to Italy. One of my students took a 10-hour train and just showed me around Italy for a week, man.
Wow.
Like I got a whole different experience than I would have if I didn't have my own community for my personal brand, So
Yeah.
just even outside of just like business stuff, man. Like I remember when I was in Tate's war room, I remember that I was thinking how important that was, like how he has all these people that like love him. That he has this community where
Yeah.
like he can go to random, like he can go to Russia and someone will take care of him. He can go to buttfuck nowhere and probably someone there that will be like, yo, I'll take care of you,
Yeah.
Wow, man, that was an amazing one, man. Thank you for that, Serge.
100%. 100%.
I have a quick question for you. I know we're kind of getting out of business. I'm trying to get you to know
Yeah,
you a little bit
please.
more as well because we just recently met this week. Did you I want to hear like how you got into the internet world and if you worked any jobs before that as well. I kind of want to hear what jobs you worked before and then how you got into the internet money world.
So I finished high school and then went to college.
Where?
It's in I don't know if it's Toronto is the same thing, but we have CJEP where you have to go there for 2 years before you actually go to university.
I don't know what that
You don't have that?
I
Okay, yeah.
dropped
So
out, bro.
so yeah, I went to school and but I was saying this on my story yesterday, but bro, my first job it wasn't really a job. It was more like a gig where you would go and then you would make money at the end of the day. Because I wanted to, one of my cousins let me drive her car, right? It was nothing. Like, it was not a crazy car, but I just drove once. I didn't know how to drive. She just let me park the car. And I was like, I enjoyed that process so much. I was like, I need a driving license. So as soon as I hit 16 years old, I was like, bro, I need $160 to pay for my driving lessons, right? I've never been the type of person to ask for money.
Same.
So I was like, I just got to figure out a way to make money, right? And I learned that there was this gig where, because normally getting a job is a process, right? You can't just want to get a job and just start getting paid tomorrow, right? So,
yeah, especially
but
when
I
you're
had
16, yeah.
right. So, but I had urgency. I was like, bro, I need money. So what I did was there was this gig to go work in a fucking farm or field, bro.
What? Word.
Bro,
That's
crazy, bro.
That is crazy to think about.
Crazy, bro. Like a farm or a field, bro, of I forgot what they're called in
In Quebec?
Yeah, in Quebec. Les aubergines, c'est appelé comment?
Les aubergines, eggplant.
Eggplants, bro. Eggplant fucking farm, bro.
That's crazy.
There were this machine or this truck that was running through the field, right? So it's like just like lines of, of crops or whatever, right? And it would walk, like it would drive like this. It would have like extended arms, and then you would cut the fucking eggplant and put it on the fucking thing that brings it back to the truck, right? But bro, this is like from like 1 kilometer worth of fucking thing, right? And it's like sunny days like this, bro. Canada, when it's hot, it's fucking hot, bro.
It's hot.
It's hot.
It's hot.
Bro, I had to wake up at like 4 or 5 a.m., take a bus. Bro, like work with people who don't even have like their papers. They don't have they're not citizens. They're not.
Right.
Bro, like people directly from Mexico just trying to fucking feed their family, bro. I did that, bro.
How long?
For like 2 days. I did it for 2 days, you know what I mean? Because, bro, like, at some point I was like, bro, like...
This guy's a comedian, bro. I love this.
No, but check this out. I did it for 2 days, and on the second day I was like, bro, I'm not a slave, bro.
Yeah.
Slavery ended way before, bro. I'm good.
But
bro, like,
that's a clip, bro. That's so funny.
But no, but bro, like on the second day I was like, bro, life, I know life could be better than this, you know what I mean?
Right.
So what I did was I was just like, hey guys, I'm done for the day. I went back in the truck because you can't leave before everybody ends their day. Right. So what I did was I just went in the bus. We came in. I just laid on the seat and I just took a nap until everybody finished working.
That's crazy.
Because bro, like I was doing that job. I didn't have to do that job, right? But for me, it's like if I want something, I'll do whatever I can to get it, right? Because a lot of people, so like, going on a tangent, it's like, I've done that. So you're telling me that I can make $100,000, $1 million a month by posting YouTube videos, building a team of setters, closers, fulfilling content, this and that. I'm like, bro, I fucking cut, what's the name again?
Eggplant.
I fucking put eggplants on a fucking thing, bro.
Yeah, bro.
For hours, bro. 8 hours on the sun, bro.
Yeah,
that's nothing compared.
Hard work. Like, that's
real
bro, hard
it
work.
was depressing, bro. It's like, bro, you see your life being miserable. You see your life ending right there and then. But anyway, so I did that for 2 days. I did get some money for the fucking driving license, though.
Right.
So I didn't pay that. My dad ended up helping me pay the rest because he could have paid for me, but I just, I don't like that.
It's the immigrant mentality.
Yeah,
bro.
it's bro. I'm trying to grind, bro.
Man.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to take care of my own thing, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I did that. Went to school, and then at school I started doing door-to-door sales, right? Started selling Bell, for Bell, just the internet, home services, and I did that, right? And from there I also went and I did door-to-door. Door-to-door is probably one of the hardest thing that you can do.
For sure, 100%.
It's like,
it's nerve-wracking, first of all. Bro.
Oh my God, it's like, bro, knocking on every door and seeing someone just not even want to like open the door for you, and you have to do it on the next door, and you have to do it on the next door, and then when people let you in their home, you're like, I need to sell them. It's like, bro, what the fuck? It's so bad. But did that, and the first thing that I got was that got me into entrepreneurship was really network marketing. So.
Word.
I went to like this one event, they like to do, MLMs love to do these
love to do
events.
man.
They'll go and sell you a pitch, sell you a dream. It was wonderful, right? The pitch was beautiful, right?
Yeah.
They sold me onto this journey of like becoming free. And I was sold. I spent $500 at the end of that event. And
they got you.
And they got me, man. And they threw me on a journey of personal development, right? Started reading books.
Did you watch Kevin Trudeau? Do you know who that is?
No.
Because I know this one girl told me she was like, it was so funny. Me and my homie were at, sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
We were at this steakhouse, and they were making table size Caesar salad, and me and my homie were talking about Kevin Trudeau. Like, this guy, he has this video called Your Wish is Your Command. It's like a 14-part video. This guy was like sold billions in infomercials back in the day. He actually even went to like jail for it, like for selling too much. He recently got out, but we were talking about that because that really helped my mental state. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, you guys are talking about Kevin Trudeau? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I'm like, how do you know about it? She's like, oh, he's part of this MLM and they made us watch him. So I was like, word. But she was saying how like they were big on personal development and like being the best version of all this, And even one of my homies said he got his talking and sales skills from MLMs, like being in network marketing. Continue.
But but I did that I didn't really do that. I did ACN, I did Q Science, I did another one, I forgot the name. But I did a few, right? So I got sold a few times, you know what I mean? Because I was getting primed to buy a lot of bullshit, right? But I ended up getting out of it and got 9 to 5s, bro. Like, you know, cold calling over the phone. I also did, and then I ended up getting into regular 9 to 5s, right? And my last job was, you know, was working in the customer service department. Ended up becoming a team lead and having a team of like 10, 15 people to train, and that's when I was working there, I had a steady paycheck coming in. That's when I started really buying courses. The first one I bought was probably like Amazon FBA. Then I went into drop shipping by Scott Hilsey. And after that, I bought Iman's agency stuff. And then other courses I ended up not buying, but I did get access to them, which is Sam Oven's Consulting Accelerator, which is probably one of the best courses.
It is one of that changed my life. That week 2 especially.
Oh, bro.
That thing was probably I think to this day probably the best self-development.
Bro, it's insane.
It is
right?
literally like life-changing, man. Like man, I think I was 18 years old, and you know that Alchemy of Self. I remember when I did that, and for the first time in my life, I had this confidence. Because I had clarity, right? Because he makes you do all these exercises where you have to ask people, yo, what are my weaknesses? And it hurts. It hurts when you're like, yo, you get angry too easily. You get this blah, blah, blah. And then he tells you, okay, what do you want? I remember just going through that. Man, that's one of the best courses.
It was
Most
perfect.
people's courses are watered down Sam Oven's courses, by the way, if you didn't know. Like literally, because we've watched it, so you can tell when someone else's course is like just watered down. Sam Oven's.
100%, yeah. No, his 2-hour long form stuff was amazing, right? So after going through Sam's course, that's when I started like just taking things seriously, right? But I was still working a job, right? It was beginning of 2020, and that's when I started like, you know, as long as I'm working at this job, bro, I'm not gonna do anything business-wise, because I realized that like if you're spending 8 hours a day at a job, there is no way you can build any great business. Because building a business, like it takes your whole being and your whole attention to really build something. You need to be spending a lot of time, even if it's not necessarily productive time, but you need to be thinking a lot, figuring out what is the best, you know, things to be doing, right? And I gave myself a goal to like quit by April, right?
How old were you at this time, by the way?
So I'm 24 right now. So probably like 2 years ago. So I was like 22.
Got you.
Right? So 22 years old, I was still working the job, and you know, I went till June, bro. I didn't quit, because it's like once you have that habit of a paycheck, especially if you're working with people that you enjoy. It was an e-com company, so it was chill. It's not like a crazy job that requires a lot, and but like June, we started working from home because of COVID, right? And I started working from home alone for another company. I was like, yo, you know what? This is whack.
Right.
That gave me the courage to be like, you know what, let me actually just leave, right? And ended up leaving, and that's when I started doing outreach. And when I quit my job, I was like, I'm not going to do outreach personally. Because I realized that like it's been a year it's been like 6 months that I've been trying to scale this agency and get clients, and I still have yet to do it. So
what service was it?
I started out mostly advertising.
Okay, got you.
Right, advertising. I switched a little bit, but try to get client for advertising after, like, I think I got a client after 45 days of quitting, after getting a VA agency that did outreach for me, right? And that first client, man, it hit different. Bro, getting 4.3K on after quitting a job, it would have taken me like months to make that kind of money, like 2 months and something, right? It gave me so much confidence in myself that I was like, okay, this can actually do it. Because it's like getting a stranger to send you their money. Once you experience that, it's like it's like having a superpower, right? And it gave me so crazy boost of confidence.
That feeling is just different. Man.
But what I sold that person was advertising, a video sales funnel and paid advertising. But the guy was broke. He wasn't broke, but he didn't want to invest money in the ads before I actually made some money back. So I was like, bro, well, how the fuck are we gonna get you clients, right? But I knew how I got him as a client, so I was like, yo, let's do appointment setting for you. Let's do outreach and let's get you clients from LinkedIn. He was a coach, and I had that VA. So what I did was I found other VAs. I was working with a VA agency, but I was like, ain't no way I'm gonna pay that VA agency to work with this client.
Yeah.
Well, I did it at first, but I was like, no, it's my margin are just way too
Yeah.
slim. I can't really do it. So what I started is I hired agency in my company, VAs in my company, and then I trained them from what the VA agency were doing, right? And we started doing outreach for that guy.
Wow.
And a few months in, I started realizing that, like, you know what? I'm doing outreach. A lot of agencies are also struggling with their outreach. I struggle with my own outreach. So I was like, this would be a valuable problem to solve for people. And I started an appointment setting agency like December 2020. And then January 2021 is when I made my first 5-figure month.
Wow.
So, and then the rest is history.
For sure. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Yeah, you're right, man. At first, I used to watch this Diddy. You know that Diddy clip? When he puts something, he's like...
He's on the phone like,
yeah,
I can do anything?
I can do anything, bro. I used to watch that after I closed the sales like that. And I go to my mom, like, Mom, like, US dollar, $2,000 US. Like, you know, and she's like, what the fuck? Like, it's so funny. The first time I realized that online money could work was I was in Nepal. This is when I went back home for the first time in like 9 years. This is when I was drop shipping.
Yeah.
I think I had a bunch of shout outs lined up at the same time. I was selling some Ring, some Game of Thrones fan pages. And I remember like all day what I did was I was with my cousins. We went to the forest. We just, you know, did what we did in Nepal. We go to the forest and just chill, you know, and I just explore around. And then I remember that day we made like $500 some. And I remember because I remember I still have that notebook. I went home and in my notebook, I'm like, this shout out cost this much. Product, I'm just manually doing the math in my head. And I put $324 USD. And I'm like, bro, it would take me a while to just, you know, work like, because I used to work on the weekends only. I used to go to school during the weekdays and we work on the weekends, no free time. It's like, bro, it would take me a lot of time in order to do that. And then when I came back, I just quit my job because I just believed in this drop shipping thing. So it's crazy, man. That first taste of online money, man, like, oh, it's different, man. It hits different. I still have my screenshots and everything for all these things, man. Like my first online dollars.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. What are some of the lessons that you've gotten from, going from nothing to, to now running a multiple, 6-figure business?
I think I learned a lot of things, man. Like a lot, and just in my personal life, a lot of business stuff as well. That I've shared earlier, but just realizing like how much like I need to be on top of myself because I can get lost in the sauce like easily. It's so easy to get lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, gotta make sure like you're straight, like and then you also have to have the right people around you because I still get lost in the sauce and I have my friends that literally like. I remember the other day I go to my friend all excited about this thing and I'm talking to him. And he replied to just with one sentence. And that just changed my whole outlook. And I'm like, fuck, you're right. Like, like blind, you still like these blind spots that you have that you don't realize you have, And I'm so like having the right people around you, just like being on top of yourself, taking care of your mental health, your physical health as well. Cause like I used to be in like crazy shape in high school, but once I got into business, like I got really unhealthy and that really took a toll, But a lot to do with just long-term thinking, because I also think, and this really helped with my comparison, because I feel like everybody goes through this, is like, if someone is winning now and you're not winning now, but in 5 years, you're winning, and let's say even they're winning, it's like, what does it matter? You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you're winning 10 years, 20 years, like, it doesn't matter if you have the Richard Mille next year, like if you have in 5 years, whatever, you have it, Like stop, like that's another thing as well. Like I say the word flow a lot. I'm just flowing, like I'm not in a rush, like because I used to be in such a rush to do everything because I can think of 100 things I should be doing right now. And when you see people online doing it, you're like, I should be making content, I should be doing this, but like rushed work is just horrible work, and then you're just not getting good output out there. So like recently I've just been learning a lot of things like, just take your time, you know what I'm saying, patience. And I remember when I scaled too fast, it was all chaotic anyway, so it's like, like chill, you know what I'm saying, like do your thing. Skill, and another thing as well is like skills, like just always be upgrading yourself. Like I look at like entrepreneurs like Elon, and I think of them like video game characters. I'm like, they just done a lot of missions when they have all these like, like swords or like these armors or whatever. So in the same way, I'm like, damn, there's so much more I have to learn. There's so much more I still like need to know about business, learn about business. Like even what I'm doing is just such surface level. And that's another thing as well. Like it's so, because in the internet money world, right, we see someone making like million, whatever, and you're like, holy shit. But like you said, there's billionaires out there. They have trillion-dollar companies. Like whoa, like, you know, understanding that, understanding the importance of like the right people in your business, how important it is to have, you know, people that really just help you elevate your business. There's so many things, man. I'm just so grateful to be like learning these things at this age, to also go through my, like, you know, a lot of my downtime as well, you know, like just the times that were just filled with obstacles. There's just months where like I was just miserable, where I just woke up just anxious, just things all over the place. Like that just taught me so much as well, you know, about something as simple as like how important it is to be organized, you know, how in every situation in your business, there's the easy choice and there's the right choice. And if you keep on taking the easy choice, it's going to catch up to you, and it's going to be so much worse than if you were to just take the right choice, you know, like we're talking about, like not hiring cheap or like reinvesting. Is like, it will catch up. And when it catches up, like, you know, the opportunity cost, like it's going to be way worse than if you were to just put in that extra work, pay that extra to just take the right choice. So I'm just grateful. I know 2023 is going to be huge for me.
Yeah.
Because of just how everything is going. And I couldn't say, man, I'm just grateful. And you know what, gratitude in itself, like, I feel like gratitude saved my life, you know?
Yeah.
Really, like, just being able to be grateful for the things, like, that I used to take for granted. It just, again, keeps me grounded. It just keeps me grounded. My head doesn't get too big either, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's so important as well, so.
What are some of the things that are keeping you from scaling? Because one thing that I've realized is that even people who are not necessarily where they need to be, we always know why we're not where we need to be. So like, what are some of the things that you do or that you don't do that you know are costing you more?
I do too many things sometimes. Like I have the tendency of like getting too excited about things where like, you know what I'm saying? So like maybe this new thing, and then I'm like fucking putting my energy on this, or like, oh, this new thing. Like, so sometimes like I'm just have too much in my head that is causing me from taking action. And then I realized this is a huge sticking point for me. And I've realized this, I don't need another course. I don't need to meet anybody else. I kind of know what I have to do. I just have to do it, and I got to let time do its thing as well, and it will happen. Yeah. I couldn't even tell you why I acted the way I acted in this last, but I'm telling you, man, I went through a lot of resistance in the last 2 years because of that period where I focused on lifestyle over work. I just had a lot of bad habits, you know, and those bad habits definitely.
You want to share some of those bad habits?
One is smoking weed, bro. Like, you should stop that shit. I've been clean for weeks now, and like it's a huge difference. And even like just the way I'm feeling now, and you know, like you know, just meeting you, like just like seeing Iman at the club and shit like that. Like I'm like, shit, bro. Like I gotta be more on top of my shit. I don't have time to do that, you know. That, girls, like just going out and shit. That was whack as fuck, bro. Like buying dumb shit, like. All these things, like, they keep you from doing the things you're supposed to do, right? Yeah. And then again, like, just getting excited over things. Like, you know, I remember one time I literally just neglected my agency and was just doing shit coins. Like, you know, I never got into NFT, thank God. You know, I know so many people that did and just messed up their whole business. I learned from my shitcoin time and crypto time, but like, there were also, and you know, all these bad habits, not working out, like all these things, you know, just consuming too much. Like even watching YouTube videos is a horrible habit in itself. When you're just consuming so much shit where your mind is filled with like shit you shouldn't even care about or know, you know, like it really prevents you from like taking action. And like, I always say, because in the last couple of months is where I feel like I'm feeling like myself again. And I couldn't even tell you why I did some of the things I did and didn't do some of the things. I was just in a complete different headspace. I was just like, it's almost unrecognizable the person I was, you know? So just coming out of that, just like, you know, just being in more control of myself, being more on top of my stuff, like, I know what I have to do, so all I gotta do is just execute that.
Yeah, one of the person who talks, you know, talking about the smoking weed thing, it's Grant Cardone. I heard him, like, he said this thing, like, yo, if I go in a meeting, and you've smoked weed and I haven't, I'll kill you. Oh, right?
He's right, man.
Because you know, one thing I've realized with weed is like it just makes you uncertain.
bro.
There's no way you have certainty when you're high.
Anyone says that like they're more productive, whatever, I can still scale a business. Like it's cope, man, because like it is super cope, because that's just not true. Like exactly, like I just noticed myself having too much like fluctuation in my emotions, which can affect my decision making, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I couldn't explain to you why I did some of the things I did, but it did. And I look back and I'm like, what the fuck? What? You know? And like I was slower. You know, I'm not as sharp. I'm not getting these ideas.
It's
everything, man. And it's like, it sucks in Canada because, it's everywhere. Like in Toronto, every other store is a weed store. And like, then I thought about that. I'm like, bro, like this is probably the worst thing that happened to Canada. Because even it made like it too accessible. And it is like, especially after COVID, man, I noticed like a lot of people, because that's when I kind of started, or like, like when I first like started doing, because I used to never smoke, never drink before I was 20, or none of that, even when I was in university, I didn't do that. But like, I think I got a little complacent, and when I thought it was okay, and man, it really does slow you the fuck down. It really, really slows you down. And I'm very, very grateful that I got out of it, man. And I don't want to go back, bro. Not even like, just fuck that, man. I just love being clear-minded, not having foggy mind, not just like have like fluctuations of emotions, and like, man, I'm very, very grateful for where I am right now.
No, it's good. So what are some of your goals for 2023?
My goals for 2023, I want to, take the agency to, like, the first milestone would be 100K a month with my partners. I think that would be not only for me, but like for them. Like we used to go to the same middle school. So I think it'd just be like a cool story for all of us to, like have this started in the summer and just take it, which we're not, I know we're not that far from. I was telling you more about my, my new thing on the email and that I'm working on. I genuinely think that could do really well. So just really focused on growing that. And honestly, man, just also like watching you really raised my standards as well to like what is possible, and I just want to fucking keep pushing it, you know what I'm saying?
Numbers, bro.
Literally just keep pushing it.
Canada is like, this is why like we gotta put Canada on the map. There's not, I mean, there are people earning, right? I'm not saying there is not crazy people doing numbers there, but in our industry, I don't think there is enough Canadians who are really like out there, right? There's a lot of like European.
There's a lot of low-key ones, man. I met a lot of low-key guys as well.
I've heard a few people, even the guy in, apparently I was speaking with, I forgot who he was, I think it was Oscar, and he said that the whiz of e-com is a Canadian.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. Yeah. But I've noticed like a lot of guys be Canadians, bro. Like we be out here, man. You know what I'm saying? Drake, Weeknd, Tory. I'm just like, that's just music, but like.
But we need to make sure
we're gonna be doing that, man. I think this is the year, bro. Like this is the year. Like I keep on repeating this as well. Like I was telling my friends all this. Like I'm just done being miserable, bro. Like I'm back. Like I'm fucking back. I'm feeling like my old self again, and it's like. I just know what to do. Just gotta execute, man. That's really it. So I'm looking forward to it, and meeting people like you, meeting all these other people that I've been around. Like you guys have really just raised my standards as to what's possible. Yeah. And I've realized to reach there, you have to believe it first. You have to have conviction. And this year, I genuinely have conviction that I will just exponentially grow. Yeah,
I mean, bro, you come from Nepal, bro. Look at everything you've achieved. It's like. If you've achieved this from where you come from, bro, then like imagine what's out there, right?
The hard part is already done, like we've done the hard part, like shit, just like getting here, like that was the hard part. Already done that, so like even going to the next level, it's like it's so clear, and it's just execution is where it's at. How about for yourself?
For me, like this year, I want to do like I want to scale the company to 8 figures. I want to do 20 mils, and. Am I guaranteed to do it? No, not at all. But should I still aim for it? Fuck yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? I like to aim for numbers where it's a bit ridiculous, just so that I can, just look for new insights, learn new things, and expend my, the way I see things. Because I feel like until you set really big goals that you yourself don't even know how to achieve, there is no way you're gonna look for the answers to figure out how to achieve it.
That's true. The unknown.
It's like, bro, you gotta stretch your mind. You gotta stretch it. A lot of people get too complacent because they start winning and then they settle for their success because it's more than what normal people will do.
Look where I came from, and like imagine even when I was making 10K a month.
Oh, bro, you're chilling.
That was like, you know what I'm saying, like, and I have to like have new goals in order to like get there.
Yeah.
And I remember that was another reason my complacency is like not having bigger goals.
Bad, bro.
It really was that.
Yeah.
I realized we talked a lot of monetary goals. I feel like some other goals, we should share as well. I'll let you go first. Non-monetary.
Non-monetary. For me, I need a supercar, to be honest.
You know which
I need
one?
a supercar.
You know which one?
I don't know. I've been thinking about either a Turbo S, a 992, or I want to get into maybe a 720S. Or if I really want to go crazy this summer, bro, just go get that morning coffee and a bagel. I want an Aventador, bro.
That would be.
That would be mean, bro.
That would be very pimp.
Go in an Aventador to Tim Hortons,
Go
bro.
Timmy's. I was just gonna say Timmy's drive-through in an Aventador. Only Canadians can relate, bro.
Bro, it would be such a flex,
bro.
Bro.
Get an ice cap, please. Oh, dude, that would be hilarious.
It would be mean, right?
100%.
Definitely want to grow my audience for sure. I think I want to just get my name out there more. And I'd love to, to be honest, for me personally, it's just more. I have this goal where I'm I just want to do bigger shit. I just want to do bigger things that inspire me and make me more confident. And I'd love to have more people like you who are doing cool shit. Hey guys, so I'm sorry to cut this podcast short. There is an incompetent human somewhere around the world who hasn't gotten back to me around how this podcast does not actually have an outro. So our ending has been cut. So I'm so sorry, but we'll probably get together with me and Splash again, and then we will make another movie. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. I personally enjoyed it. The people were actually listening in while we were shooting it, said that it was probably one of the best pods that we shot while we were there in Cape Town. So please leave a comment, subscribe if you want to check out more podcasts around Natural Born Leaders. So thank you guys again. If you're scaling a business, an online service business, agency, consulting business, or even a coaching business, click the link below and watch the training that's below. And appreciate you. Have a beautiful day. Bye.